Hey guys, it's me, my face, and many, many things to chat about. Today's happy dance brought to us by coffee, because coffee never lets us down, even if it's from Starbucks. All right, maybe we shouldn't go that far. Still using Halloween mugs because. If you're new here, my name is Andrea. This is a channel about cross-stitching. We stand with the Ukraine, and this is a safe space. If you disagree with either of those sentiments, you can see yourself out. I am not going to, against what I'd like to do, because my head doesn't always make the good decisions. I'm not going to make this 20 minutes of Ukraine and people trying to describe supporting your trans children as child abuse. I'm just saying, I stand with the Ukraine and leave the trans kids alone. It has been an eventful couple of weeks in the world, and as much as I would like to just sit and talk about that, I am not educated enough on all the details to have much to add to the conversation other than kind of the obvious. What I would say is, I can give you a whole bunch of links to go and donate money and to go learn things and this, that, the other thing. My links will not be better than anybody else's links. In fact, they probably will not be as well researched as some other people's links. So I encourage you to seek out people who know more about what is going on and find the best way you have to support the people who need it. So let's move into what we all came here for, which is just a little cross-stitching. Maybe just to take our mind off the rest of the things. The first thing I'm going to show you is the Autumn Garden. This is from SubRosa Design. And I did not make a whole lot of progress on this, although it felt like I did when I was stitching on it. I think this is evidence of yet another pattern that I did not realize was not a small, is the thing. Because I was like, yay, look at this. I did the whole plant, and I did the most of the vase. I must be almost done. I'm not even close to done. This thing has it has a whole world going on around it. But I did finish the plant, and I don't think I'm done with the vase. I think there's a base, but there's not too much left, because I wouldn't have left that string if that was all that needed to be done. But look how wee it is. I love me some wheat. Ew. I love small patterns, and I just think that's coming out really, really cute. And did I change out the colors? Did I pick these colors? I don't remember. It's in the description thingy. I think what I may start doing, I don't know if it's a good idea, is maybe leaving the pattern information and stuff up the whole time I'm talking about it. I don't know. Let's give it a try. Let's see what happens. I am very into experimenting with my videos right now because that's what my brain is interested in. If you may notice last week's video, I didn't do it until, it was 2 weeks ago that I posted the video. It was a week ago that I added chapters so that you could go to the pattern that, like, if you were interested in one particular pattern, you can click on that in the description and it'll get you right to that part of the video. I did that. I was bored one day, so I may continue doing that. It's all a learning experience. The next thing I worked on is from Brenda Gervais. This is The Cat in the Moon. And again, another one that I did not make as much progress as I thought I would make. I've really just filled in more of the face and the nose. I shouldn't really think of that as not a lot of progress, because really the whole pattern is just the cat's face and then the ruffle and then like above. So just having made progress on the cat's face is nothing to sneeze at. I am not thrilled with the coverage that I'm getting. This is 40 count, which means one strand should not be a coverage issue. But I think this particular piece has some slubs that are not conducive to great coverage overall. It's not bad, but like there's a little bit here. You can see like that little light spot is where the fabric is peeping through. I can probably just go over it with another strand, but I don't know. It's bugging me. The next thing I have to show you is from Carriage House Samplings. This is Halloween at Hawk Run Hollow. And I made a little progress on this. Again, not into the next block, but I finished everything that's going on over here. I finished the... Actually, no, I did not finish the smoke. There's more smoke that goes there. But I finished the cauldron. And that was kind of a big thing. Because, as I've said 47 bajillion times, I had convinced myself that there was a mistake in that cauldron and that I had to start from the other side and work my way through to find out. I never found it. I never found a place I was off. It doesn't look off. It looks a little off-center and kind of... It's non-symmetrical. It's supposed to be non-symmetrical. That's how it was charted. So it's right. I just feel like there's a weird gap here in the flames that I may not be able to ignore, and I may have to fill in with a little something, I don't know what, a little more flame or a little more cauldron. But either way, it's like it's pattern done. It matches the pattern. I may not be done with it. So there are just finishing this smoke, and there are some bats, I believe, and there is a cat sitting here. And why I have avoided stitching a black cat, I do not know. Other than the fact that there's a lot of black going on here. And even though I like the coverage of the sulky, which is what I'm trying to use anytime black is called for in the block, I'm still doing 310 on the borders just to stay consistent. But I don't really enjoy stitching with the sulky. It's not very soft. It's almost a little like Weeks, where I think of it as it's very dry to stitch with. And I could probably use some thread magic on it. I should remind myself to try that. Let me know if you have tried that, because even the thread magic, I would think kind of makes it even a little stiffer rather than softer. I don't know. But in any direction, this is coming out well. I managed to put a lot of time into it, it felt good to work on it for that long. And it may almost be time to move the Q-snap, which I'm kind of anxious to pull it out and maybe give it an iron, hold it up in all its glory, and let's take a look at it before I stuff it back into here, into the world's ugliest grime guard. I need to make another one of these. I need to do a lot of things. I can see my sewing machine now, so I could do that. I just need to sit down and do it. Yeah. The next thing I have to show you is a freebie from La-Di-Da. This is Alphabet and Hare. I actually started this on, did I start it on New Year's Eve or New Year's Day? One of those. It was within an hour of either of those things. And it is almost done. I have finished the whole alphabet. I just need to do the border. I really probably should have sat down and did that last night. I chose not to. But it's getting there, and it is 1/1 in the most delightful way. I know that while working on it, I kind of, it's not an even weave by any stretch of the imagination. There were moments where I didn't like how it was coming out, but now that it's almost finished, I'm pretty pleased by that. I'm hoping I can maybe find a little, it's not going to be quite square, but I would like a squarish frame that maybe I can run a little ribbon or something across the top to square it off. Because I think this would really cute displayed. I don't think I want to put it in the journal or scrapbook that we'll get into that a little later in the video. But yeah, I kind of want to display this. I think it's cute. I want it out. So that'll be a finish next video. Like almost guaranteed. I don't do any actual guaranteeing because life is bonkers. Anybody remember when the worst thing in your day was a pandemic? Yeah. Good times. The last whip that I worked on is Kathy Barrick. This is Heaven and Nature Sing. And I just got a little bit more done on, what did I do? Andrea, write these things down. I did more on the deer's face, I believe. And I'm pretty sure I did a couple of trees. Which trees did I do? That's an excellent question. Let's say it was this one and maybe the one next to it. I'm doubting right now whether I worked on this. I could check. Okay, hold please. I say hold please. I may let this run so that you can see how I actually do things. I have, is it on here? Oh, everything is awesome. Yes, I do. I have a Trello board. People, with my patterns on it. If it launches, that would be great. Is it under projects? Let's see. There's one called projects and one called patterns. Right. It is indeed under projects. So I have a Trello board, and I don't know if this will focus, but you can see like all the things that I work on and can work on and things like that. Wow, that did things to the brightness, didn't it? Heaven and Nature Sing. This is what I try to do. Is every time I take that picture that I put in for like my previous, I put it in here so that in theory I could check and see where I have been and where I am. In theory. So here are all the image attachments. And this is what it looks like right now. Nope, this is what it looked like prior. We know what's happening here. Okay, so yes, what I did do is I did more on the face and I filled in, looks like just one tree, and it is just that tree. Look at that, I was right. It doesn't happen very often. Let's revel in that. I actually remember working on that tree while I was watching curling in the Olympics. Remember the Olympics? That was fun. It seems fast and long ago. In any case, what I did not do is what I kept, well, I kind of did because I worked on the head. Andrea, complete sentences. Finish them. The deal I have made with myself is that every time I work on this project, I put in one length of the body because it's a big animal and there's a lot of, and I also don't want the variegation to bunch up, so I'm kind of doing it in chunks. But I guess since I worked on the deer's head, that kind of counts as putting a length into the body. But I really should be working down here some more. There's a lot in this pattern that I didn't realize. For some reason, I don't think it's for some reason, it's how my brain works. I focus in on one part of the pattern, probably the piece that I like the most, like this big old deer, and I ignore everything else around it. So when I'm working on this, I keep thinking, I have to almost be done. As soon as I finish the deer, I'll be done. I won't. There's like a lot going on around this deer. This is a pattern that's going to be with us for a while. So, strap in. But I'm hoping to have this done for this coming Christmas. Whether it will be FFO'd, I want it to at least be displayable. Like I could put it in a frame or something just temporarily to put it out at Christmas. That's the goal. It's good to have goals. Now I have to get out of Trello and back into my notes, or else chaos will ensue. I can't tell you how much I hate chaos. Surely, with all that's going on in the world, I could not have had a new start. Of course, I have a new start. This is another controversial new start. I didn't bring the pattern over with me, but I probably have a picture or something going on. Okay. This is from Primitive Needle. This is God Bless Us Everyone. And, I'm going to admit this is not my favorite Primitive Needle, but I found it on eBay several years ago at a very reasonable price, but not a ridiculously low price. Like you would say, why in the world are you selling it for $5 or something? It's still Primitive Needle. I paid a rational amount for it at the time, and I cannot find the name of the seller. My history, for whatever reason, in eBay doesn't go back that far. But at the time, I purchased it from somebody who did not have any sort of issues, no feedback saying that they were selling fake patterns or anything like that. The first Primitive Needle pattern I received had the photo, glued to the front. And I think I went to Facebook. I want to say it was maybe Stitch Mania, and said, just checking to make sure that this is how they usually come, because the picture had actually fallen off the front of the pattern, and the pattern kind of looked like a photocopy. And they said, yeah, that's kind of how it was when she was making patterns, and that is completely reasonable, and enjoy. So that was my first pattern. That was Kindred Spirits. This is God Bless Us Everyone, and the picture is actually part of the cover, which I am told is reasonable. She did move to that after a certain point. They stopped being pictures, like actual photographs, and being printed. So I've always kind of assumed that this is a good pattern. But now I don't know, because I don't know anybody else who has this pattern. And so if you have this pattern, please let me know what yours is like. Is your image printed on the front of the pattern? Or you just show them the stitching? So I started this. And yes, he's very pasty. He's a very pasty man. I am definitely using a complete conversion here, because she designed, I believe, mostly in Belsois silk, other silks, fancy things. Fancy for somebody with the word primitive in their design name. Very fancy. So I have done a conversion for this. And there aren't that many colors, so I think it will be fine. But he is very pale. He will be backstitched, so I'm not worried about that not showing up when I'm finished. But I was excited to start this, and I'm kind of back on a Primitive Needle kick. I sort of, I won't say I lost interest. I definitely did not lose interest. I lost the drive to seek out a lot of the patterns, because one, there was so many issues with fake patterns being sold. And two, because it just felt like such a futile effort to find, the good ones. I have had offers over the years for people have offered to say, like, send me a working copy of their original, because obviously they don't want to lend their original to a stranger on the internet. And, part of me says there is no harm in that, in sending me a working copy and trusting that I will shred that copy when I'm done with it. And the other part of me says, no, if you're gonna, it's a cross stitch pattern. You're gonna find one or you're not. You're gonna come across one or you're not. So a lot goes on in my head. So long story short, I am getting re-enabled by all these people who are working on Blacked Sky. And I believe I also saw somebody doing, is it Cape Cod Girls? Maybe. I could be making that up. Either way, I was watching a more than a couple of people working on their primitive needles. And I want them. I just really do want them. Blacked Sky, yes. I'm frustrating myself. These are cross-stitch patterns. They are fine. You will either stitch them or you won't. It's all fine, Andrea. It's fine. Let's get through this one and then think about the next one. Shall we? Let's. You just watched how I talk myself off of ledges on a daily basis. Sometimes it has to do with cross-stitch patterns. Sometimes it has to do with packing up and going to the State House and making a very strong statement by screaming. That's what it's like in my head. I have some finishes to share with you. This first one is from the Little Stitcher. It is the Pickety Witch, and it is done. Apologies, I did not iron. I have no excuse for it. I simply just did not. I finished it last night. I recharted. This used to have $16.99, $17.99, either way. Now it has my initials and the year. And I love it. It's so cute. It's so primitive. It's just such a sweet little pattern. I think this wants to be put on, don't start with me, sticky board. The sticky goes away from the stitching. Don't worry about it. It's fine. I think it wants to be like flat and like propped somewhere. Because I like it. It's another one that I feel like I want to have out and around. These are, they're grays and they're oranges and they're browns, but they're not necessarily the tones that I would usually pick. So I like that it's just a little different from what I would generally have roaming around the house. Also, that gray is silk, and silk is no joke. And so I would like to display that. But let me tell you how last night, when I was finishing the border, I kept sitting there saying, okay, where do I want to put my initials? Where do I want to put the date? Yeah, Andrea, it's like the biggest part of the pattern. You have that covered. You're good. I'm telling you. The other thing I finished that I didn't realize I kind of needed to finish. If you remember, last year before, I don't know. I started doing the Prairie Schooler. Oh, that just like escaped my head. I started doing the Prairie Schooler patterns. I think I started with this one, which was Misfortune. And that was a gift from Stitchy Godmother, Laura. And I stitched it and said, oh, this is so cute. I need to do the rest of them. So I did this. I did, I'm going to say this because I don't remember what they're called. So I have this one, and I have this one, and I have two more that are already kind of finished and cut out, and they're in the scrapbook. So what these needed was to have this, I guess is called the nun stitch, all around the edges so that I can cut this and have it not unravel And I don't know. I was told it was a problem, so I went with it. So I got all 3 of these edged, let's call it. So now they just need to be cut out, and they need to be put on the page or pages for the whole series, and then we can call that one done. And then maybe I can start my Santas. Andrea, you accomplished so much. You can't possibly have FFOs. You're darn right I have FFOs, and I will show them to you. The first thing that I have is, this is the Primitive Hare Halloween freebie, Witch's Kitchen. So many words. It is finished and framed. And remember I said that I wanted to put this in my kitchen and I needed to find a frame. I had this frame. You guys, it's got artichokes and radishes on it. It's a kitchen frame. What else could you want? The only thing probably not great about this is I think the color of the fabric is really close to the color of the frame. So I'm thinking I may put like a ribbon or something on these edges just to kind of make it stand out a little. But otherwise, I mean, it's done. Guys, I cut the fabric. It's done. It's a done deal. So I will put this up in my kitchen. If I do choose to embellish it, I will be certain to share that information with you. The other thing that's kind of an FFO that isn't really an FFO is, if you remember a couple weeks ago, I bought this glass top box at Salvation Army, and I was looking for a piece of stitching to put in it. And Laura actually suggested that I put one of the Prairie Schoolers in here. Unfortunately, no 2 are on the same size fabric, and none of them really worked in here. I think if I wanted to put one in here, it would have been misfortune, and that was not the right size. So what I did is I took a piece of fabric, and it was fabric that I actually got at Savers probably 2 or 3 years ago, and it's kind of velvety corduroy kind of thing. I was going to make a project bag. Right. But I thought that I love the colors. I love the pattern. I could cut it to fit perfectly. And it looks good for now. And I can swap it out anytime I want. So I finished the box. Well, that is it for all the stitching. I do have a little bit of haul. My sister Janet and I actually made the pilgrimage to Stitch New England. There's no need for you to move. We went to Stitch New England. It is in North Attleboro, Mass. And I am so thankful that it is not in my backyard, because I would be there every 2 days picking through things. I was bummed that I did not get there in time for the trunk show for Michelle Bendy Stitchy. But while we were there, there was the trunk show for By the Bay Needle Arts. And oh my goodness. I've heard for years that there is like a real difference seeing models in person as opposed to images on the internet or even images on the front of a pattern. It really does make a difference. The models were just absolutely gorgeous, and I'm pretty sure that Janet bought one of them. She did because she got entered in the giveaway. So Pam, who is the owner, when she has a trunk show going, if you purchase something out of the trunk show, you get entered into a raffle. So I know that Janet got entered into the raffle, so she must have bought something from the trunk show. So I was really impressed by the Bay Needle Arts. They're not somebody that I think I would have looked at otherwise, except they were right in front of me. But what I did end up doing was getting my Michelle Bendy Stitchy fix, and I got myself the Drama Llama sampler. This most likely will live with me, but it could potentially be stitched for my niece, who I think, well, first of all, loves llamas, but also would totally vibe with this. I have not decided what colors I want to use. I don't know if I want to use the dinky dyes that she recommends. I was also looking at some threadworks that seemed really promising. It says that there's 2 colors in here, and I kind of see it, but I kind of think this whole thing could maybe be done in a really neat variegated bluey, greeny, something or other. So I grabbed that. The other thing that I grabbed, because now I can touch the threads. I can go and meet the threads before I buy them. And I can make decisions based on what they really are and not just what, you know, various pictures on the internet lead me to believe. I bought Classic Colorworks Blackbird. This is so that I can start the Halloween Quaker. It's brown. I mean, I'm happy I bought it. But guys, it's brown. It's just, I don't understand it's brown. That's fine. It'll be fine. I bought it. I got to meet it first. I was happy. But I also picked up some threads just because I liked the look of them and the color of them and not for any particular use. So this is Grape Arbor. This is Simply Shaker, Gentle Art. This is also Gentle Art Driftwood, which I thought was a nice neutral. Gentle Art Storm Clouds, which is very green. It's green. I don't know who named it. I wasn't there, but either way, it's a great color. And I got Cast Iron Skillet. I liked the black to gray variegation. I liked that it wasn't quite black. I feel like I probably would have preferred this to the Blackbird, but I'm not questioning it. We're just doing it. We're just doing the thing. We're just doing the thing. So I definitely recommend, if you are in the area, to take a trip over to Stitch New England. I am going to try to do at least one of the upcoming Saturday stitch-ins. I don't think Wednesday night I usually go to my father's for dinner, so I don't think I can be there for one of their drop-ins, but I could definitely spend a Saturday there. Yeah, I could do that. If you watched the last video, we had a giveaway for some 18 count Fabric Flare Aida. You guys, I had no idea you would get this excited over the Aida. I usually have, I think, between like 9 and 12 entries for my giveaways. This had like 38. Y'all like the fabric. So what you should be seeing here is a video of me picking the winner. The winner ended up being Alicia Kyle. She is in New Zealand. I don't know that I've ever sent anything to New Zealand. Alicia, this is going to be a first for me. I am going to have to get it to the post office. I'm going to have to talk to the nice lady at the counter. I can do these things. But it may not go out in the next few days. And it may take a bit to get there because, you know, the world is weird. But it will be on its way to you. I did not get the chance to pull anything out to do another giveaway this week. So we will do that in the next video. And that's pretty much it for everything stitching related. Last night I got my finish on Pickety Witch while I watched the final episode of Supernatural. I am really glad that I chose to watch the whole series. I found it very entertaining. And I won't say I'm happy it's over, but I'm happy that they got a reasonable ending. I was happy with that. And I'm happy to move on to another series. I haven't decided if it's going to be The Expanse or if it's going to be one of the newer ones that are coming out on Netflix. My problem with a series that hasn't ended is sometimes they don't get endings and then I get upset. I don't want to get upset. So I have to find something. I'm trying to find something that's already ended so that I can just watch the whole thing knowing there'll be closure. The other thing I watched the other night was Encanto. I only cried a few times, but I cried good. I mean, I cried. It found stuff. It found stuff in me. We Don't Talk About Bruno is going to be my new jam. It's already on my phone. I'm enjoying it. So I highly recommend watching Encanto. That is about it, other than binge watching CNN and seeing things unfold in the Ukraine and, seeing things unfold in Texas and in other states. That's been my couple of weeks, and that's probably going to be my weeks coming up until something changes. I think I am just going to get to editing this video and getting it up for the night and see what I want to work on for the rest of the day. As always, guys, thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for your likes and even your dislikes. Watching you. But especially, thank you for your comments. I read every single one of them, and they mean the world to me, as do you. Thank you for being my community. Bye, guys.